It is hot in February. Can you guys believe that? It is legitimately warm, and it's freaking February. Alrighty. Let's begin. Despite all my rage, I'm still just a rat in a cage. Despite all my cage, I'm still just a rat feeling rage. It's beginning to sound a lot like funding is gonna run out for DHS. They're gonna have to pull their funds from mice and reduce their capabilities. How far into transitioning do you plan on going, and is it a personal preference? What do you mean when you say is it a personal preference? I'm not sure. You're gonna have to explain yourself a little better. As far as how far do I plan on going, like, I guess as far as I can, like, it'll just depend on, economics, really. I mean, if ever America introduces a universal healthcare system that makes it really easy and affordable for me to get a sex reassignment surgery at some point, maybe I'll consider going that far. But probably just going to end up having, hormone replacement therapy at some point, and maybe some facial feminization stuff, maybe. But that can sometimes be just as expensive as a SRS, so don't know. I look like John Lennon? I don't really think so. I think it's just glasses. So do you like males or females? I am bisexual. I'm a fan of everybody. Send them to me. You're tired. You're hungry. You're sick. I lift my lamp beside the golden door, if you know what I mean. You know how Christians could really start converting people if they were willing to be cool? And they could be like, you know what? All these other motherfuckers hating you, but I say Jesus would smoke with you. I think Jesus would smoke a blunt with you. It'd be so much more appealing. Start pitching Jesus as less of a savior and more of a really cool divine smoking buddy with your best interests at heart. Jesus doesn't smoke? How do you know? Just because it wasn't said in the Bible doesn't mean it never happened in all of reality. By the way, make sure you guys are hitting that like button as you roll in. Welcome to the stream. I love to talk. I love to talk about current events, religion, politics, whatever it is that people want to talk to me about. There are a couple of things that are in the title that I would love for us to talk about, but I want you guys to hit that like button, Share the stream if you've got some social medias on which you can share it, and enjoy the conversation and join the conversation, because you can add your voice to the discourse very easily, very simply. Just type it into the chat and press enter, and there's a good chance I'll read it. The Super Bowl sucked ass. I didn't watch. I pretty much did a refuge stream for anybody that didn't want to come watch the Super Bowl. They could just come watch me, you know? May we all come into peace with one another. I agree, President Faruka. How do you feel about ICE? ICE out. Fuck ICE. Abolish them. It's an institution that does not need to exist. It's literally like 25 years old. You realize ICE as an institution is like younger than me. I, as a human being, am older than ICE is as an institution by like 4 or 5 years. Coming from a pastor's son, Jesus would spend more time with you than he would with a Bible beater. Well, that's what the Bible tells you, is that Jesus did not spend his time amongst the virtuous and the righteous. Jesus spent his time most famously among the poor, the paupers, the sinners, the whores, the adulteresses. Didn't need ICE till 25 years ago? Why? What happened 25 years ago that necessitated the creation of ICE? You realize every single human being that did the 9/11 attack would have still gotten into the United States even with ICE being there. They were all legally here. There's not a single fucking terrorist involved in the 9/11 attacks that wasn't here legally, as far as I know. "25 years ago is whenever they started acting like animals." No, 25 years ago is when you started losing your mind and believing conservative propaganda about brown people. 25 years ago is when 9/11 happened and you were fear-mongered into being afraid of everyone with a darker shade of skin than you. I know what happened. I can tell you exactly what happened 25 years ago. 9/11 happened, and it terrified most Americans into fears they had never been led to have in their lives. Fears that had really just been edgy jokes up to that point. Nobody actually fucking hated Arabs in the 90s. Like, you might get Arab jokes, but everybody was getting made fun of in the 90s. Everybody was getting made fun of in the 90s. It became an actual real lived fear after 9/11, and it's all because the American news media did not do its duty. They allowed the narrative to be turned against Arabic people broadly. They allowed the narrative to be turned against Muslim people broadly. You don't care about my opinion? Well, get somewhere else, because there are plenty of people who do. That you personally don't care matters to me not one iota. Will everyone leave? This person's gross and doesn't deserve any attention. Says the dumbass that's name is Cup of Nuts 71. You're going to add so much to the discourse. I can just tell. I can just tell. I just got to recenter myself. I got to recenter myself. You can't throw me off my game. I'm smarter than you. You pass it? Could use a puff. Here you go. There you go, friend. I was checking your channel out. Don't let mean people get to you. I don't, but sometimes I am overwhelmed by the preponderance of stupid shit. It's not the individual stupid comments that get to me, it's the preponderance of it. It's like the realization that people's psychology has been so profoundly fucked up at this point that most people just, they look at this like wonderful social utility we've got in the form of the internet, and they just look at it as an opportunity to, say horrible, awful things they could never get away with saying in real life. And we wonder why our political discourse has become so Nazi adjacent. We wonder why our political discourse becomes so fascist and hard right authoritarian. But like, look at what our internet activity produces. Look at what behavioral standards are encouraged and allowed by these different platforms. I'll say it to your face, you gremlin. No, you won't. Nobody ever does. In 6 years of being trans, I have never, in 6 years of being out as trans, I have never once had anyone say anything to my face about it. Not once. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, one time there was somebody, but they did it in such a polite and demure way. I guarantee you when they're online, they have the same kind of rhetoric you do. But right there in my rainbow kitchen, they didn't have that rhetoric. They had the demure, soft, euphemistic language of a bigot that's scared. Did you get a date as trans? Did it help you? You realize I was like perfectly popular before I came out as trans, and that I've only just like gained in confidence and popularity ever since, right? Like, literally, I had like an awkward stage in high school, and then pretty much as soon as I got out of high school and started living a little bit of life, I instantly became cool. I knew guitar long before I was ever out as trans. I was putting this vest together before I was out as trans. I've been a crazy fucking visibly leftist alt weirdo for way longer than I've been out as trans. So this idea that there's some direct correlation between attention seeking and being trans is just so fucking bullshit, because the vast majority of attention-seeking behaviors have nothing to do with gender. Like, not only that, but most trans people are not like me. Most trans people are not attention seekers. Most trans people are, like, trying to kind of, like, fucking keep their head down a little bit. Maybe they, like, everybody likes a little bit of attention, obviously. But I crave something bigger. Like, I crave something bigger and more profound than that. And that actually places me in a place of like separation from most trans women, especially trans women, because like we're just not particularly known for like seeking fame regularly, And I know instantly people are going to bring up Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn Jenner was really fucking famous before they came out as trans. Train coming. The great thing about being trans in the modern day is that you don't even really have to make any effort to make content and get views, because there are people who are so obsessed with transgender people and so obsessed with hating on us that they will literally just sit and give you endless view hours, give you endless comments and endless engagement, and all you have to do there is sit and look pretty. You don't even have to talk. Like, look, I have not even been talking for like the last 2 minutes and we're at 94 views. I don't have to do shit. My life is so easy. 94 people that hate you. People that hate media watch twice as long and pay you twice as much. Howard Stern did a study on this. Haters are good. You pay me. You are the premise of my popularity on YouTube. Ah. We hate you? Good. I like that. I feed on your hatred. I welcome your hatred. God hates you? God doesn't exist. You're a weak-minded person who's been cowed into believing things for which there are no evidence because you are easy to control and stupid. Brother, you have 90 views. That's nothing. More than you got. Did you watch the game last night? No. No. It wasn't a team I cared about playing, so... Nah. Make sure y'all hit that like button, by the way. Every single time you hit that like button, there's another chance to stream out to even more people, which increases the quality. If you're being pushed by increasing the number of people that engage in the chat. Ideally, we'll have some kind of conversation in here if we can ever filter out enough stupidity to find enough people worth having a conversation with. Your breath stinks. Sorry, I'll brush my teeth before I fuck you in the ass next time. I mean, you would know because of our hot and sexy session last night. My camera might be shitty, but at least I can spell. Hillbilly. Bro, I worked retail and food service for 10 fucking years before I started doing YouTube for money and pleasure. You shove it up your ass. Give a fuck what you think about my work experience, frankly. Bro, country riding, let's be real. You ain't never said a motherfucking thing to a trans person in your life. You ain't gonna either. Because you don't want this heat. You don't want that heat. You ain't trying to make a fucking scene in public. You like to fucking spout off online and blow off a little steam on internet chats and then go out into the real world and work alongside and serve people that you fucking hate. I live in Mississippi. I know how this shit works. I live around white racists, and I fucking worked around white racists before I started doing this as a job. I know how they fucking work. They work alongside black people as a function of their job. They serve black people or are served by black people as a function of their lives. And then when they're just around a bunch of white fucking white bread cracker motherfuckers and they think nobody's listening or caring, then they start talking all their racist garbage. I know how this bullshit works. You have nothing but hatred when you're around what you think is your in-group or when you're online. But in real life, you don't say a goddamn thing to a single motherfucker. If you did, there'd be tons of videos of you out online, on Reddit, fucking getting up in people's faces and confronting them about it. This is the society of cameras, my friend. You can't do anything like that without getting recorded by 10 different motherfucking people. You know why? Because the only place you'll find people like me, usually, is in town. And if you're going to be in public, there's going to be 2 to 10 people with cameras. You would be famous. You're not. You are a person that likes to blow off steam on the internet, and that's fine. But please stop pretending like you're a badass. It's called being a keyboard warrior, and it makes you look cringe. Love the way you push through the hate. Keep up the good content. Thank you, Frank Fallen. What a fucking sweet and lovely and noble gentleman. I appreciate the $5. If anybody else would like to have their comment or question read out loud, I appreciate it immensely. You guys are the reason I'm able to do this as a job. You guys are the reason why I'm able to make so much content. And I appreciate you 100% so deeply. Sorry. I had to burp, and I was trying to power through that statement before I burped. What are your thoughts on Jordan Peterson? I feel like every so often you'll say something where I'm like, okay, but then almost every time he takes it to a really dark and weird place. I also feel like he is very prone to word salad. I can't talk that much shit because I am also prone to word salad. But, you know, it takes one to know one. And, you know, I think he's a little bit more prone to bullshit word salad than I am, which makes it hard for me to listen to him sometimes. But there is good self-help advice in the 12 Rules for Life. I'll say that much. There's some good stuff in there. You should clean your room. Let's just talk about that one. The thing he's most famous for. You should clean your room. Yes, you should. And here's the reason why. Because the state in which you live is so important to the way you feel about yourself, the way you feel about your abilities in life at large, the way you look at other people and what you expect out of other people. You lower your own standards and your own quality of life by leaving your room full of garbage, full of trash, messy and unkempt. Like, I wish I could show you guys my room. The biggest problem I have a problem with is, like, a lot of times I will get, like, my clothes folded and everything, and I'll move them into my room, but then I don't put them up for a day or two. So it's not, like, that abnormal to come into my room and see, like, a pile of clothes sitting on my chair that is, like, folded and ready to be put away, but hasn't been yet. Other than that, I don't have any trash on my floor. I don't have any like carpets that need some kind of deep cleaning. I wash them once a week. I've got a regularly changing set of sheets and a blanket that gets washed once a week. Like, it smells nice in there. It looks nice in there. There's a trash can in there so that any trash that's generated or anytime I sweep, it just goes right in there. There's no excuses not to clean. And that is a great piece of advice from JP. And I wish more people took it seriously. It's a big part of self-care. It's a huge part of self-care. How do you see communism being achievable if we first need to destroy all states and unite them under a single system? No. I think you've had a fucking misappropriation, or not a misappropriation. You have been led under a misapprehension about communism, okay? So that is not how you achieve communism. The way you achieve communism is by, in my mind and in the mind of a lot of modern theorists, is actually by widespread unionization. If you can get like half of the businesses in, even if you just did half of the businesses in the Western world, so we're going to take like Western Europe, North America, if you just took that and got 50% unionization, that would provide such an intense momentum to the labor movement that you would be able to very quickly achieve more and more worker power in workplaces. And once unions have like widespread worker involvement, once you've got like 80% of your workforce is under unions, which in some places in Europe it's already like that. There's some places in Europe where basically everyone is in a union. Okay, so America and Canada just needs to get to that point. Once you've got that point, then you can start really using the workers' power as a voting bloc. Right now in America, and from what I hear, it's the same way in Canada, but I'll talk about America because that's what I'm familiar with. Right now in America, a very small group of oligarchs control all of the decisions. It's basically between a set of center-right billionaires and their politicians and a group of far-right billionaires and their politicians. And the workers' will is nowhere there. The people's will is nowhere there. You realize 76% of Americans want universal health care? As of the last polling I saw, it's like widespread. It's like fucking 3/4 of us. 3/4 of Americans. Like, it's insane how many people want this basic policy and have wanted it for 20 years. They've wanted it for a long fucking time, and yet it doesn't get achieved. Why? Because the workers have no voice in America. Why do the workers have no voice? Because we've got no union representation. The idea behind communism is worker-owned means of production. You cannot achieve that unless you familiarize the working class with the concept of controlling their workplace through democratic apparatus. If the goal is not states, then maybe I worded it wrong, but the point is same. It demands homogenization. No. It doesn't demand homogenization. Quite the opposite. I mean, okay, there are some authoritarian communists who would want that, but I'm not one of them. I'm an anarchist, maybe like an anarcho-communist a little bit. I would call myself like an anarcho-syndicalist, but, you know. I would call myself like an anarcho-syndicalist or something, but ultimately, we want collectivization of the means of production, but we don't want homogenization of culture or personality or anything like that. I mean, part of the reason why collective groups of humanity can be so effective in achieving their goals is through the unique contributions of individuals within those systems. Not sure I agree, though. Hey, you don't have to. No, that's fine. That's fine. Think on it. Think on it. And, no, I don't want to overload you with stuff. No. I'm not going to give you any homework. Just think on it. Just think about it. And if you really want to, you could look up... like, have you ever read the Communist Manifesto? I'm not saying that it's like okay, so here's the thing. If I'm going to recommend this book, you need to know it's not a perfect answer to modern economic problems, but it does give you a good idea of what people like me want to see out of a better future, right? It gives you an introduction to the basic ideas. Now, there are things that need to be accounted for and discussions that need to be had as to implementation in the modern day and ideas that are no longer as powerful or as relevant. There are just things in there that I downright disagree with, but it does give you a basic introduction to the idea that workers can own the means of production and that the method by which we achieve that is by introducing people to that concept through unionization, which basically gives them a crash course in running the workplace through a democratic apparatus. See, this is why I don't talk about theory, because when I talk about theory, I have 27 views. When I was yelling at people for being mean about, like, the trans stuff, we were sitting at, like, 100. Now I'm talking about leftist theory, and we're sitting at 30. Do I work? I mean, it depends on your definition of work. I'm self-employed, according to the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics definition. Certainly, I have to pay taxes as a self-employed person to the IRS. So as far as the government's concerned, very much so. As far as the culture is concerned, I think it's debatable. I'm certainly not out there, like, slaving away in a factory or swinging a hammer or something like that. But there is a good bit of effort and concerted planning that has to go into these to make them worth watching and to make people want to super chat because they like me. There's a degree of, like, personality management that's required to be like successful at this shit. So it's work in a sense, if not the blue collar sense. It's definitely a white collar job for sure. But, you know, I don't make white collar money. So it's like an interesting kind of in-between place, I feel like. It's almost like gig work. You know, does somebody have a job if they work for DoorDash? I think unequivocally yes. And I think if you do YouTube as a, like, if you pay your bills off of donations through YouTube and ad revenue through YouTube and shit like that, I think you are unequivocally employed. But the work is different. The manner and conditions are very different to what most people are experiencing in their workplaces. You can be successful. I hate to tell you this, but I'm actually, like, shaping up to be more successful this year than I've ever been in my life. Like, I need to keep at it and keep growing this channel and keep losing weight and improving my aesthetic and my haircut and all this shit. Like, I'm on the fucking I'm on the up road already. So I appreciate the advice, but I think I'm hopefully heading that direction already. For the first time ever, really. Fucking fingers crossed. I'm trying not to hype it up too much, but goddamn. Is this John Lennon's daughter? You found me! Worth watching, not even trolling. Wouldn't the first step to make this worth watching be getting a camera that doesn't look like shit? I'm filming with a phone. The reason it looks like shit is not because the camera is bad. It's because the fucking data is like, you know. Well, actually, the data should be fine. I don't know. I feel like there's not. I feel like not all the fucking towers are back up. There was an ice storm that went through my area recently, knocked out the power for like 20 to 30,000 people just in my county alone, and then like thousands and thousands of people across the broader deep south. So crazy shit. But I think it knocked out a lot of the towers that were normally providing like a better data signal, because it says I should be getting fine signal, but like it says you got 4 bars of 5G plus. But if people are bitching about the camera quality, I have to assume that it's only sending out a 380p fucking bitrate or something like that, which is not good. And I apologize for that, but there's not too much I can do about it. What's up with the flag? I'm a trans woman who thinks the colors are pretty. The pretties are color. I'll piss on that flag. I mean, fucking kill your heroes. I'm not gonna fucking... What do you think? I'm gonna punch you because you pissed on a fucking queer flag? I'll piss on an American flag, and I wouldn't want someone to like do retributive justice at me for that. So you gotta take the flag down? Nope. Never. Do you like the band Against Me? Yes. Eric Grant and Jensen were activists. Can you guys not argue or communicate, but only talk shit, even if you're not completely opposed? Why not be an adult? Wait, huh? What? Oh, I don't think you're talking to me necessarily. Maybe. Just wondering, what do you do for work? I talk shit online, and occasionally people pay me because they think I'm funny or cute or interesting, or they hate me and just want me to read their hateful comments. Both work for me. It all spends the same. I need to get a bigger flag. I do too. Well, eventually I'm going to have a set up in my bedroom, and I'm going to have this draped downwards the way it's like kind of supposed to be, because the flag is usually, like this particular flag is a lot of times flown like down like that. A pentagram? I mean, yeah. It helps to scare off weak-minded people who are terrified of symbols. All this is the live stream for mental instability. Man. Ay. Education system failed, yo ass. I want to have a conversation about politics. You're ignoring me. I'm not. What do you want to talk about? Fucking, that's for you guys to decide. I don't know. I had some shit in the title, but then we got derailed. One thing I was going to talk to you guys about was fucking DHS is about to get shut down. Now, ICE itself has funding guaranteed to it through the bill that was passed last summer, but if DHS broadly loses funding, that means they'll have to take from that $76 billion or whatever that ICE has got and use that to power the rest of the Department of Homeland Security until the shutdown is over, which is going to severely limit ICE's capabilities. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm fucking happy. I'm so proud to say that the pressure is working. It's time to keep it up. It's time to keep it up. This has been The last 6 months have seen more protests sustained for longer in more places than we've had in fucking 5 or 6 years. This needs to be kept up. This needs to be kept up. And we can keep up this energy for a lot of fucking changes that need to happen in this country. If we can collectively organize around the injustice that is ICE, we can collectively organize and demand change to our fucked up draconian healthcare system, or our fucked up draconian prison system, or an end to the war on drugs. We are powerful, united. Let this be a lesson. Let this shutdown be a lesson. Our efforts are working. Keep the pressure up. Should we legalize drugs? Yes. Regulate them, of course, but legalize and regulate, because the war on drugs has not worked. It's actually made addiction rates worse. It has created a culture of like coolness surrounding drugs. It's created a taboo where there would be none before. There are lots of reasons why it just doesn't make sense to treat it like a criminal issue. I don't, you're probably going to say, like, what? How can you say that? Addiction is such an awful thing. And have you ever met anybody that's addicted? Yes, yes, and yes. And I agree totally. But the way you treat that is not by locking people up. That's just what the numbers say on it. If you look at a country like Portugal, they decriminalized all drugs, regulated they widely regulated a lot of drugs that became legal, and they broadly decriminalized and started treating the problem more like a health issue. So you don't get arrested just for drug possession, use, or anything like that in Portugal, but you might get referred to a health program. And as a result, their addiction rates have been going down and their healthcare outcomes have been getting better where it concerns addiction medicine, basically. I've lived in Portland my whole life. Decriminalizing is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Well, it doesn't work if it's just like in one fucking city. It needs to be, and if it doesn't work if it's just in one state, it needs to be a national policy of decriminalization and strict regulation. Dude, I don't believe it. I'm sorry, I just don't buy it. Like I've got a friend from Portland who says the exact opposite. They say that Portland's cooler than ever, and that the drug problem is no worse than it's ever been, and that in fact addiction rates have been going down. So I don't know. I just don't buy it. I feel like I trust Ignar more than I trust you guys. Ignar says Portland's just fine. Going to jail helped me get clean and change my life. Well, you probably went to a different jail than a lot of people went to, because for a lot of people, going to jail is a pretty fucking sure sign and promise that they'll eventually go again. Here in America, anyway. It's not everywhere in the world. There are plenty of places in the world where their recidivism rates are way lower. But here in America, our recidivism rates are ridiculous, and nobody wants to talk about it because we are obsessed with the idea of American exceptionalism. We refuse to call out any problems in the way we do things because that would mean admitting that America has a problem. And you don't have any problems if you just ignore the problem, right? You know, if you have a broken leg, the best thing you can do is keep hobbling around on that motherfucker as if you don't got a broken leg. It'll pop back into place eventually. It's not like you're going to get gangrene in that son of a bitch and have to have the fucker cut off. It's the retarded suicidal instinct of a dying culture is what it is. It's the death urge, you would say, of an empire in collapse. I will read no more questions unless they are super chats. If you want to have your question read, either sign up for the membership to get the little star next to your name, or send a super chat. Otherwise, I'm giving you guys the silent treatment. I'm just going to sit here and look pretty. Make money like I was earlier. No, actually, passive income from streams is like really low. But if you're going to have me read nothing but hateful garbage, I'm going to charge you for it. I have several pentagrams. As you should, Post, as you should. Decriminalizing drugs is not the answer. We do have the drug court that does work. No, it does not. If the drug court works, then why are our recidivism rates so high? If the drug court works, then why do so many people get fucking relapse? Like, why do so many people get addicted again after going through rehab? You act like we don't have a massive addiction problem in this country. You act like we don't have a massive recidivism problem in this country. The drug court does not work. The war on drugs has not worked. There are no proofs which are good enough, though. What level of culpability do you place on Israel and Zionists for the issues of the West? Furthermore, are you open to any third answer compromise of left and right? Well, I don't know what the third answer would be. What, centrism? Like, left and right just describe like political tendencies, and it's like an overarching set of behaviors attributed to each of the binary options. But like, when it comes to the issues of the West, I mean, I feel like the Epstein files pretty fairly prove that Israel has an incredibly outsized amount of control and influence over the policy that has come out of America and Britain and a lot of these countries that are closely allied with us. So it's kind of hard to say that they don't have any culpability for sure. I don't know that it's like a lot of fucking Nazi conspiracy theorists will tell you that Israel controls the whole fucking world. I don't think that's the case. I think Israel has an outsized sphere of influence because we have given them an outsized amount of power. I think that the reason why Israel is able to control us is more or less because we allow them to control us. We could choose to stop. Israel is a tiny country. We could leave them to the tender mercies of the rest of the world. And if it were not for our support, lots of other countries would drop them, and eventually they would just be probably, well, I mean, it would be pretty tragic, honestly. It would be pretty sad. I don't necessarily, like, it's a difficult thing to answer how we should proceed, like, forward in a way that leads to the least amount of suffering. But one thing is for sure, the reason why Israel has an outsized amount of power is not because it's like, it's got nothing to do with the fucking JQ, which is what a lot of people are trying to act like right now. It's got to do with the fact that America has decided to empower Israel to a degree which is fucking absurd. And as part of the foul price that we've paid for allowing that to be part of the way we do business, we kind of created a monster. And we continue to feed it because we look at it as being better than the alternative. Salty, the way you're talking about this makes me fucking just not want to even engage with you. Like, it makes me feel like you're a disingenuous person who's just going to act like you are of vague political beliefs, but the whole time you're going to be supporting Nazi conspiracy theories. The Jews don't run the world, my friend. Israel has an outsized amount of control over the developed world, sure, over much of the developed world, but I think China maintains its own sphere of influence. I think Russia has like a hybrid kind of thing going, where Israel's definitely got some control over there too. There's definitely some kind of like collaboration going on there, but like Russia also collaborates with China, which is like very much anti-Israel for the most part. So I don't really think they've got like a chokehold on the whole world. I think that they've just got like a real outsized amount of control over the West for the most part, with some minor pockets, cities, some states, some tiny islands or whatever that reject that hegemony. Who are you to say they do or don't? The evidence just isn't there. There's about as much evidence for a fucking Jewish cabal with control over the world as there is of an Arabic fucking cabal with control over the world, or a Christian white nationalist cabal with control over the world. I think the truth of it is that it's a billionaire cabal that runs the world, and it includes groups from all over. It is very cosmopolitan in distribution and makeup. Do you even have a job? I'm a monetized YouTuber. I don't give a fuck if you consider that a job or not. That's how I pay my bills. Untrue, look at the Epstein files. Human decline. Did you not hear me earlier when I said that the Epstein files make it clear that Israel has an outsized amount of control over the fucking West and over the developed world? And that as a result of the outsized amount of control that we've allowed Israel to have by empowering them and refusing to fucking back down over the last 20 years on that empowerment, like... It's not Jewish people. It's fucking Israelis. It's the Israeli government, and it's our fucking willingness to use them as a pawn in the Middle East, no matter what the geopolitical cost may be, because we feel like, I don't know if it's sunk cost fallacy or if it's the idea that it's really that fucking valuable that we have them as a base in the Middle East. Just because Jeffrey fucking Epstein was a Jewish supremacist does not mean that every fucking human being that is connected in any way to the fucking power structures of the world, like the world elite, are Jewish. Like, that does not... Jeffrey Epstein was a Jewish supremacist, sure, but that doesn't mean every fucking body in the Epstein files was. Nor does that mean every Jewish person was. So it's just like, in my mind, you guys haven't won shit. You guys were not saying that there is a billionaire pedophile cabal running the world. You guys were saying that it's a Jewish pedophile cabal that fucking manufactures adrenochrome from the pituitary glands of babies, and that's just fucking bullshit. You know, like, that has not been borne out in the files. That has not been shown. What has been shown is that a wide and cosmopolitan array of billionaires from all over the world have conspired to create a right-wing, pedophilia-friendly political discourse and environment. Wait, did I cite Epstein for Jewish supremacy? Did I say all Jews? If your response was to me, then that was a straw man. Well, let me see what you were saying. I may not have been responding to you. Let me see. Third answer meaning something like national distribution, national distributism. Why do we let them control us? My answer is cultural and fifth-gen warfare. Hard to fix for sure. I don't know what national distributism is. It sounds a whole lot like some variety of socialism, which I would be fine with. But chokehold on the West through mental control of America? Partially. I think it's also through I think it's you've heard of codependency, right? No, I don't think I was responding to you, by the way, when I said, if I said anything particularly harsh. I wasn't trying to strawman you. I was trying to say, like, there was somebody that did literally say, yes, they are, when I said Jews don't control the whole world. But anyway, no, I wasn't trying to strawman you. I wasn't saying that you were saying that. I just have to fucking... This is a sticky issue to talk about because Jeffrey Epstein was a Jewish supremacist. And so there's an element of the whole JQ conspiracy theory shit to this conversation. And I feel like you have to bring it up and hedge it off the pass, or people will think that you're spewing, you know, fucking conspiracy theories like Nazi fucking shit, you know? But yeah, to me, this shows that it's more than just an issue with the country. It's not a people or a country. It's a culture and way of thinking. I think it's on the part of America and Israel, though. Okay, fair enough. Okay, well, I'm glad we came to some kind of understanding, Nick. But yeah, I think it's on the part of Israel and the United States. Like, Israel exists because Britain and the United States wanted a good staging point for intervention in Iran, basically. If you look into it, that's basically why they wanted Israel. The Anglo-Iranian oil company was under constant assault from people who wanted to nationalize, and it became a real issue. They knew it was going to become a real issue. The foundation of Israel and the increased amount of Jewish immigration there and Zionist activity in what would later become Israel was very beneficial to Western oil billionaires. And now that we've established that country, there not only remains that very prescient economic interest, but there is this now like long-standing relationship. And it's not just us, it's our closest ally, Great Britain. So we've essentially got our dick in a beehive, and to, to pull out is to, well, to get a very swollen dick. Yeah, listen, don't be misgendering. Yeah, it's just mean. It's fine. I appreciate that you said I'm spitting facts. Listen, I appreciate it. But really, it's fine. Like, whatever. Even if you don't personally believe I'm trans, you know that if you just saw me in the street and you didn't hear me talk, you would say she. The only reason you're saying he is because you're hearing a deep voice. But you know what? Your grandma has a deep voice too. And you would call her, her. You ain't never seen your grandma's pussy either, but you're pretty sure it's there. You need to talk to Jesus. We don't even speak the same language. I can't talk to Jesus. Look at this. I love that. I'm going to subscribe. At first I was just trolling, but it seems like beyond the trans stuff and biased narratives, you actually have good talking points. Well, the thing is, I am at least open about my biases. Yeah. Like, you can say what you will about me. Am I a trans weirdo? Yes. Am I a leftist? And yes. Anarchist? Yep. But at least you know it. There's no guessing. There's no wondering. There's no confusion. I'm clear about my points. I'm clear about what I believe, and I'm able to try and justify whatever I have to say. It might not be a justification that makes sense all the time to everybody in the conversation, but it's at least internally consistent with my own logic, you know, which is kind of hard to find these days. So, I wish that more people would subscribe because they just like to have interesting conversations with people they disagree with. That's ultimately what I like to foster here. People are being so mean to Phoebe. Leave this handsome young woman alone. What is... The world is a strange place. You know, it very much is. I think Kathy's trying to be nice. So I'm, you know, yeah. What's the significance of a pentagram? Why do you hold it? Mostly, like, honestly, I'm not a spiritualist even. I'm kind of like Borderlands atheist, agnostic. I don't know. I kind of worship nature, but I don't know if worship is the right word for it. I don't know if I know what worship means. But I do like spirit boards and stuff like that because I believe that there's certain power in symbols when you need there to be power in them. And they also have an innate power of scaring the weak-minded. The symbol-minded, if you'll pardon the euphemism. Although, ironically, the originator of that term, George Carlin, would probably have considered me of the symbol-minded. It's funny. I really like Carlin's comedy, and I do consider him my first and earliest comic influence, but I really don't follow much of the Carlin ethos. It's crazy how the dumbest people are always telling people to get educated. Yeah. I mean, look at my stupid ass always telling people to read the Mayo Clinic and shit. My fucking ass. I don't know. I know next to nothing. No, I don't know. I'm not completely stupid, but I try my best. You sound like my mother, not necessarily ideologically, but your voice. My mom grew up in northern Alabama. Well, that's kind of wild. I'm just gonna say that's kind of wild. That's a little bit crazy. Yeah. Let's just say I grew up in a region very close to North Alabama. So, are you pro-Israel? No. No, very much anti-Israel. Well, I guess, okay, so here's the thing. I would be okay with Israel existing as part of like a united Israel-Palestine. I would be fine with that. But it seems like Israelis want like the whole shebang and everything there. And they want complete control of it. And it increasingly seems like they just want to displace all Arabs and like displace all Palestinians and just be like disposed of them. And that's like genocidal and bad. And I tend to be against genocide. I think it's a negative expression of human behavior. Why do people associate it with Satanism? Wait, why do people associate that with Satanism? Mostly the Satanic Panic, genuinely. Like alt people and spiritualists and pagans have always used that symbol. And like I think LaVeyan Satanism used it a little bit, but like Satanists have never actually been a big part of the culture, ever. Like they have never, like America is way too Christian a country. Satanism has never had like a widespread hold over the culture. So like the reason why it was so easy to associate it with it was because there was like one or two satanic organizations that used it as part of their symbology. I didn't even realize this thing was still going. But there was like one or two places that still used it as part of their symbology. And during the Satanic Panic, it just became automatically associated. You know they did it to Pokemon too? Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons as well. A lot of people were told not to let their kids play with Dungeons and Dragons because it was satanic. It could invite evil spirits into the home because of the invocation of magic. I'm a black Republican / conservative, and despite how much people disagree with you, you have to realize most people in the comments don't have the courage to speak on video like you are. Oh, Superstar, you are 100% right, and I 100% recognize that, which is why I will sometimes get brawlic in my responses, but that's mostly because I'm trying to give somebody back a taste of their own medicine. You know, you've been rather polite in your last couple of comments, and so as I've read them, I responded to them in a more reasoned and well measured way, right? So that's because I ultimately don't fret that much about what people have to say online. It's like I was telling this dude Country Riding in chat earlier, and I kind of got a little brawlic with him. People never say anything in real life. They never say anything on video, hardly. Like, look how few influencers there are, despite how many human beings there are. You know, if like the, okay, so if the proportion of, I don't know how to say this correctly. If there were as many people making videos and talking publicly about the things people troll online about, then like 50% of the population would be influencers. But that's not the case. There's lots of people on social media. There are very few people doing this as a living. There are very few people dedicating 20 to 24 hours a week just to live streaming, you know? I'm influenced. You got me? Nah, dude. I don't even see myself as an influencer yet, but it's just interesting to think that that's kind of like the career pattern I'm going down, you know? Transitioning as we speak. Got another one. Can you tell me about them turning the frogs gay? That was just something that fucking Alex Jones fucking was talking about years ago. It's not that they were turning the frogs gay. It's that there was a certain chemical that was being found in, I think, wastewater, like surface runoff from cities, I think. And it was, or it might have been an additive they were adding to the tap water that was leaching into the broader water table. I can't remember. But there was some circumstance by which this certain water treatment chemical was seeping into the water, and in a study they found that it increased the rate at which frogs would become hermaphroditic. So it's like an interesting like little fact, but it's not, you know, like Alex Jones made it seem like they were like pouring gallons of this chemical into the fucking local streams in order to assure that the frogs turn homosexual and trans, but in reality it was just like a water treatment chemical that had inadvertent effects on wildlife affected by open spills of it. It wasn't confusing the frogs, it was changing their physiology. Amphibians are capable of like spontaneously or due to environmental conditions changing their sex. Like humans can't, like humans can change their sex through like surgery, but we can't like induce a chemical change in our bodies that will make our penis grow into a vagina. A frog can, because frogs like have much simpler fucking reproductive organs. Frogs don't have penises, you know? Like they just like frogs have cloaca. I wonder if somebody's been posting my shit on 4chan. That would explain why I get all these fucking weirdos calling this a maps flag. That would explain it. What kind of flag is it then? It's the fucking pride flag. It's the most recent iteration of the pride flag. You got the gay flag colors. You got a black stripe for black liberation, a brown stripe for liberation of people of color, worldwide, and then you've got the blue flag, the blue stripe for trans masc people, the pink stripe for transfemme people. That's me, and then the white stripe for agender, gender fluid, and non-binary people. There are like deeper meanings to the stripes too when it comes to like community and unity and shit like that. And that side of the flag also has some of the same connotations. But you would have to look up the original 1980s iteration, which Wikipedia has a really good article about it actually. It's well sourced, so you can look into it. Yeah. I believe this one is called the Progress Peace Pride Flag. I believe. Complicated way to say gay? Yeah, exactly. It's a gay flag. Exactly. Literally. The problem is, Jordan Ramsey, if I just say that, people are going to just argue with me. So I have to explain what literally every little thing is. Because people will be like, no, I thought that was the gay flag, you know? So I have to be more specific than that. But yes, Jordan, essentially. Imagine being a 20-year-old boy and cross-dressing to look like your grandmother. I'm not a boy cross-dressing. I'm a trans woman. Number one. Number two, did your grandma wear patch vests? Your grandma was a fucking badass. If this is what a grandma looks like, then I'm proud to look like a fucking grandma. Fucking post. Grandma was a road dog for life. Exactly. Dude, Phantom Fish. Have you been in here before? Hold on. Dude, this vest has a magical property. I'm going to keep wearing it because this vest attracts oogles and dirty kids. Literally. I love it. I love that. Awesome. Granny Karen. Granny Thebes. Whatever. I do relate to grandmothers. I'm fine with being associated with them. I like old ladies. They're nice. They're usually chill about like social issues that a lot of like middle-aged women have come to be like very angry about. But then you get old and like, you know, you just kind of like want to hang out with your grandkids. Dude, I wonder if it's been long enough since the pandemic that I could like volunteer at an old folks home again. Because my mom used to work at an old folks home, and I used to come up there every week and play music for the people at their like dinner, like in the cafeteria. You know, I'd sit there for like 2 hours and play music and talk to them and stuff like that. That'd be so fucking cool to do again. Honestly, old lady clothes are fucking great. The reason why old ladies are fucking goated in their fashion choices is because old ladies have they've literally settled on the ultimate truth of life, which is that which is comfy is has primacy. That which is comfy has primacy. Doesn't mean you can't look pretty, but if looking pretty comes at the expense of being comfy, sometimes you got to give up on looking pretty a little bit, you know. Not universally, not completely, but you know, they have figured out how to completely ride the line between functional and beautiful. They've just had so much time to practice. It sounds like dude, if I didn't know any better, I would think that they were building a highway around my house. By the way, Phantom, was I right? Are you an oogle or a dirty kid? I went shopping at a Cato in bumfuck Carolina, bought a normal sweater, and the woman at the counter asked who it was for, got jeans and a sweater, and they looked at me like I was insane. I know! What is, like, with people? You get some normal clothes, and they're like, why don't you want to look like a fucking fashion model? And it's because maybe that's uncomfortable. Whatever. Autistic girl chic. It's fine. NB veteran in Cali? Oh, well, right on. Hell yeah. I guess you've just got like, you've got oogle vibes, and that's good. That's a compliment. I mean well by that. I'm a black indigenous gay flag. Disabled vet, right-wing nightmare. Yeah, that's true. Well, I'm glad you found the stream, honestly and genuinely. I'm glad you found the stream. I'm going to do one last plug for donos. If, well, not you, Phantom Cop. You're excluded from this fucking pitch because, you know, like, you got enough going on, dog. You need to spend your money on video games. But everybody else, if you would like to contribute to my degeneracy or to what you think is a really interesting and cool conversation with an interesting and cool person, please consider super chatting or donating to the Cash App down below. Also, check out my link tree. That's how you can follow all my socials. I'm trying to remember to be more social and active on Instagram and Twitter. So go follow my, shit down there. It really does help. It's good. It's nice for the publicity. It does good things for the numbers. And then it makes things green and makes my heart happy. We're going to probably get off here in like 10 minutes, but we've got a little bit of time before we go. Maybe I'll play us a song to jam us out. I don't know. We'll see. Who am I talking to? I still haven't specified. It's so funny. I know. Well, you're the best. Genuinely warm. Oh, shit. What's going on? Holy shit. Holy shit. So I leave and the JQ becomes the topic. I really am the Nick Fuentes of the left. What have I done? My fierce anti-Israel sentiment has turned me into a person who primarily attracts crazy lefties and crazy Nazis. Now, it says that the dynamic is exactly the opposite. Like, in this dynamic, the crazy lefties are the ones who support me, and the crazy Nazis are the ones who, like, hate watch me. But it's like, what have I done? I'm so confused, Phoebe. I am too, Post. I don't know what's going on. Other than that Nick was like mad that leftists don't consider the JQ more seriously, and got even madder because you started trolling him, because that's kind of silly, you know, and now we're all mad at each other and everything's tense and Nick's probably not going to watch anymore and it fucking just sucks. Crazy Nazis as opposed to the stable ones. I am joking, Nick. You're correct. I am joking, okay? I don't necessarily think you're a crazy Nazi just because you've come to take the JQ more seriously, but I don't think that the JQ is, like, valid. I don't think that there is, like, some Jewish conspiracy theory. I think it's a billionaire conspiracy theory. I don't think it needs to be explained with some kind of ethno-religious, you know, mumbo-jumbo. I think it's perfectly explained by the class relations. I'm not very mad, and I'm still invested. Well, good, Nick. We're just joshing you a little bit. Like, Post is very fierce, but you've been pretty constructive, which is why you haven't been banned yet. So, clearly Post doesn't think you're, like, actually a Nazi. They're just ribbing you. I mean, they might, honestly. I don't know. Post is a little more extreme than I am. But, hey, you know what? They're lovable, too. Someone is going through it. They know who they are. I don't need to tell them what they look like. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. I think Nick can be helped. I don't think it's a Jewish conspiracy theory, man. I just don't. I think it's a billionaire conspiracy theory. I think the Jews might be involved, but they're not involved to any greater degree than white Christians are, or, you know, Arabs that are Muslim, you know. Yeah, it's money. It's not Jews. Don't call people Nazis and then claim it's a joke. Y'all choose to hurt people who you claim are Nazis. I don't call names. Okay, well, I'm just trying to be entertaining. I don't personally go around telling people to punch Nazis. You know, first and foremost, because the YouTube guidelines would prevent me from such. But also, like, when people are talking about, like, punch your local Nazi, they're not actually talking about, like, random person that talks shit online. They're talking about, like, person who is clearly dressed like a Nazi at some that is playing at some kind of, like, white nationalist activity. Like, if you're at a protest dressed like a Nazi and the protest is for, like, white supremacist reasons, then that's the kind of person that people are thinking of when they say, like, punch a local Nazi or whatever. Not that I think that rhetoric is particularly good optics, but I don't know that I actually disagree with the substance of the call, because the call is, like, to suppress people who are ultimately seeking violence with violence. But at the same time, it's kind of like a touchy subject because, like, what if someone's wearing like a kind of Nazi-looking thing, but it's Halloween and it's like they're trying to do like a Wolfenstein cosplay? I don't know. I feel like there's nuance to the fucking whole thing that is kind of lost sometimes, but in general, I don't like it that people automatically assume when you jokingly call someone a Nazi that you're trying to get them killed. I feel like that's a little bit of a straw man, you know? American politics are weird these days, man. They're weird. You got lefties crying for the Second Amendment and decrying Israel. You got crazy right-wingers selling Epstein shirts and saying that Israel is based now, actually. I don't know, man. Life is strange. I would like to live in a world where you could own memorabilia and have those kinds of symbols around without them having that inherent hatred. Symbols that become elevated to meme status have powerful effects on people. Yeah, Richard Dawkins wrote about this before he was found out as a fucking pedophile collaborator. This is an incredibly powerful cultural effect, and I do agree with you that by, like, I think that it would be nice to have a world where we didn't necessarily, like, think, oh my god, this person is a fucking horrible, hateful Nazi. Necessarily because they've got one symbol. If there's, like, other things too. Like, okay, so, like, do you, like, here's the question, right? Because we all would agree that Nazi memorabilia has a place in museums. You have to remember history to learn from it, right? Hopefully we all agree that the Nazi Holocaust was horrible, that that Germany should have been invaded sooner and all that. Hopefully we all agree there. So does someone, like, should it be culturally acceptable for someone to have, like, a swastika flag on their wall as, like, a conversation piece? Like, what if that person is, like, super hard left, like me, and wants to use it as an opportunity to get people to open up about their feelings about Nazis immediately? Do you think there's a justification there? I don't know. I think there may be an argument to be made. But I'm a big fan of context, you know? I've thought about this exact scenario and many times. No, it's a bad idea? You think so? Yeah, I don't know. I do not know. I wouldn't do it myself because I kind of err on the same side as you, but I think there's an argument to be made. And the same reason that there's an argument to be made for a Holocaust museum having, memorabilia of the Third Reich or whatever. You should be able to have whatever we want. We live in that world. What people think, you shouldn't let people childish emotions stop you. Well, yeah, it's Superstar. You should be able to have whatever you want and keep whatever you want in your home, for sure. I would never, like, I'm an American. I'm not a fan of hate speech laws. I'm not a fan of, like, hate symbolism laws, mostly because I think that bleach is the best fucking cure. I think sunlight is the best medicine. I don't think you cure Nazism by outlawing it. I think you cure it by confronting it directly, repeatedly, and often. Eventually, people will stop saying it. Eventually, it will become so socially unpopular. That's how we got people to stop saying the N-word. by the way. I'm going to steal this little line of rhetoric from Bosch. People did not stop saying the N-word because civil rights happened and magically it became unfashionable. They stopped saying the N-word because it became socially unacceptable to be seen as a person that would use that kind of language flippantly. That's why the only time you hear N-word now is if you're a white person in a group with white racists that you didn't realize were white racists. Or I guess maybe if you're a white racist, maybe you did. Hopefully, nobody in here is that way. Do I have any white racists in chat? I hope not, but, like, you know. If so, let me convert you. People didn't stop saying the N-word and it's gotten a huge resurgence, so sure they did. For the most part, like, they don't say it as publicly anymore. They don't, like, use it as often. It is having a resurgence, so I'll give you that, but it's not like, it's not exactly something that comes with no social consequence anymore. There's a good chance if you say the N-word these days that you're going to get uploaded to Reddit and people are going to be making fun of you and shit like that. You know. I know Mexicans, blacks, whites, racist, or otherwise you say you're incorrect. If you say so. I have not experienced that, but if you say so. Bro, wait a minute. I'm not talking about... Oh my god. I'm not talking about the soft A. I'm talking about the hard R N-word. If I said it right now, all of you would fucking, like, jump in shock and know instantly, and it would be like a big clip moment. But for some reason, we gotta play this little euphemism game. You know there's a difference. I'm fucking with you, G. I figured. That's why I didn't get too emotional about it. I figured you guys were messing with me. Itchy. But I guess I should have specified. I should have said, you know, that's how we got white racists to stop saying the N-word publicly, the hard R N-word publicly. That is a more specific statement and is definitely more defensible. Gold card? What are we talking about? All right. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and get off here. Thank you guys for hanging out with me, as always. You know, if anybody wants to contribute to the channel, always consider sending a super chat down in the description below, or the super thanks function. You can do that on any video that I have. You should be able to. Otherwise, I will see you guys around some other time. Got things to do and stuff to see, places to go and people to be. So I will see you guys later. Bye.